Hello everyone, I'm Bob from ScienceImage. Let me show you how the 4NDI BiDirectional Encoder and Decoder is from ScienceImage, and that has integrated with many functions now on my desk. There are two NDI Studio 4K.SH. They are the same model, except encoding and decoding from 4NDI, the mutual conversion of SDI and HDMI, and up-down conversion formats simultaneously, and the 12G SDI HDMI 4K60p optical transceiver. Most of these functions work at the same time. Before startup, I will briefly introduce the demonstration environments. There are two video sources, SDI camera and my laptop. The HDMI output of the laptop is connected to the HDMI input port of the 4K box on the left side for NDI encoding. The HDMI format is 4K60p. This is adaptive. The camera is connected to the SDI input of the 4K box and format is 1080p60. This is a HD SDI camera. The SDI and HDMI output of the decoding box on my right hand are connected to the Atmos monitor. The 4K box on my right side is ready to be used as a decoding, and the NDI signal will go through the gigabyte switch on my desk. And the NDI decoding box is also connected to the switch. So now forming a network link, we use the NDI decoding box to display the original SDI and HDMI signal on Atmos monitor. Now we can operate the encoding box first. Now we use a PoE to power up the two boxes and plug in the network cable separately. The PoE switch is very common and convenient to use, so we don't need to connect the DC power supply to the box. NDI starts to working in about 20 seconds. Now we can see the all information about NDI and working status on OLED screen, such as whether NDI is encoding status or decoding status, NDI stream name, and the priority of SDI HDMI inputs, and the format of input signal, which SDI HDMI input port has a connection, the format of SDI HDMI outputs, IP address, etc. It is very convenient and clear, and all information features and status getting quickly. Now we can see that Atmos Sumo has been displayed. The signal through the SDI HDMI output port after the conversion of the encoding box. Now, let's practice the function of up-down conversion. The input source is now the SDI camera. The format is 108060p. And the current output on the OLED is also 1080p60 because the 4K box is in default auto. Now we want to convert 1080p60 into 4K60p format and output it to Atmos monitor through 12G SDI and HDMI output ports. We now open the web UI. This time we use Studio Monitor in NDI tools to open it, instead of directly entering the IP address in the IE address bar. Open Studio Monitor in NDI 5 tools. Find the NDI X source, because we only have one NDI source this time. We loaded it in Studio Monitor, then click the pinner in the lower right corner and directly enter the Control Web UI. Username is admin, password admin2. This is default setting, and click login are English versions. We enter the encoding page that we see more format selection on this page. click the format which we want, such as 4K 60p. And now we could see the format of Atmos monitor has changed to 4K 60p UHD. The OLED of box also displayed 4K 60p, and input is 1080p60. In addition, SDI and HDMI output signals at the same time. We switch the video input source on the Atmos monitor, and we can see that the HDMI input of the monitor will also display 4K 60p. Then switch back, and 12G SDI input will also display normally. This is a format up conversion process. We can output any format we want. For example, if we want to 1080i50, select this format in WebUI, so we can see the monitor and OLED both change to 1080i50, which is very easy to use. It does not affect the normal operation of NDI, and the format of NDI outputs will change with the selected format. Let's open Vmix to monitor the NDI stream. Click Add Input button, and then click the NDI Capture button. You can see that NDIX stream name has been found. Double-click NDIX, and the telelight of the box will turn red. Click Cut button on Vmix. Turn green is preview. And if no stream selection, the telelight will go out. When you switch to program, it will turn red, and can also disable the telelight function in the WebUI. Now let's show the NDI decoding function. First, enter the WebUI of the decoding box. Its IP address is 192.168.1.72. We open the IE Explorer and enter the IP address of the box. Click Login and enter the WebUI. We can see that the box is already in decoding status. The switch between encoding and decoding status is the two buttons. Users can switch and define the functions of the box at any time, whether it is encoding or decoding. Just click. We continue to select the source NDIX. The selected source button will turn green. We connect the HDMI SDI cable of the encoding box to the output of the decoder. At this time, the monitor has already displayed. Continue to change the format of the encoder from 1080i50 to 4K 60p. That the monitor displayed 4K 60p also. At this time, the decoder box has decoding the NDI from the encoder. And after the format of encoding is converted to 4K, the format of NDI will also change simultaneously. This is a complete application process operation steps of NDI encoding and decoding. Now let's show the function of the optical transceiver. We have already plugged the optical module into the box in advance. This optical module supports HDMI 4K 60p and 12G SDI video formats, and is also dedicated to NDI Studio 4K. The optical module and the box are both optical bidirectional transceivers. In hardware, there is no difference between the transmitting and the receiving end. Transmitting or receiving is decided and freely switched by the user that using the WebUI according to the on-site situation. Up-down conversion is also effective for optical, and in NDI encoding works with optical simultaneously. Now let's click the switch button and turn on optical in WebUI. Please note, when the NDI is decoding, it cannot be used as optical. We turn on optical transceiver so we could see the OLED screen displayed optical transmit, and now switch another box to encoding and also enable optical on WebUI and set to optical receiving. So now we could find that the monitor which connected to this box has already displayed video. Let's show up-down conversion in optical transceiver again. So I select the format of the optical transmit to 4K.P50. Now we could see the OLED as the optical receiver box has shown that the received video format is 4K.P50, and it is output to the monitor through the SDI and HDMI cable, which is the working principle of the optical transceiver.